What does this mean? Did you know there are more than 200,000 American military sites around the world? Many in vital areas of interest. That's right, 202,178 American military sites on Earth. South Korea, the Mideast. Did you know there are also, though, assets in Aruba and the Bahamas? Do we need them all? We're bringing in two big military guns to weigh in. Spider Marks is the former commanding general of the U.S. Army Intelligence Center. Retired Admiral Joe Sestak commanded an aircraft carrier group. Good to have both of you with us. That number is truly stunning. 202,000+ military sites around the world. Admiral Sestak, can we afford to slash some of them?
Absolutely. A number of them are still legacy from the Cold War, particularly in the European theater. What's important today is, do you have bases forward that might be ad hoc bases, because we have a relationship, let's say, with Kazakhstan. We've worked with them. They know us. And when we need an airfield suddenly, we can fly in there and do what we need to do with regard to Afghanistan. But it's also why you're seeing a greater dependence upon mobile bases like aircraft carriers. We've also placed at sea increasingly Army troops. You actually have divisions of equipment floating at sea today. And I think you're going to see that more ad hoc type of base structure than fixed and forward.
General Marks, when you look at that headline out of The Independent, though, it makes you realize that the rest of the world, there will be many who see this as America the weaker, America that cannot fight battles anymore. Is there any truth in that interpretation?
There's absolutely zero truth to that. Well, how somebody wants to interpret it is clearly up to them, but there's no underlying truth to that at all. Well, the fact of the matter is Joe is spot on. Let's not focus on any type of presence in Aruba or the Bahamas. Let's focus on what we have done over the past 30 years. We've had pre-positioned stocks of equipment in a whole bunch of locations around the globe, to include the Indian Ocean, for over 30 years, to prepare and be ready for contingencies that we don't predict very well. So clearly we have a great amount of experience in terms of how to fight and how to create influence where it needs to be, where we need to create it. We must not rely on fixed locations that tie us down and spend a lot of money. But still we must have the ability, Aaron, to put boots on the ground in order to achieve dominance and to achieve influence.
But and let me ask you about China. I mean, you know, you can see China from so many different ways, right? Okay, they've got that drone. They're going to get the technology. They've got these nuclear submarines. Or you could say they're still spending a lot less than America and have a long way to go. But one thing we know is that they are obsessed with one thing, and that is coming up with a counter to everything America has, when America is having all sorts of goals with its military. How big of a risk from China right now?
Well, I think this is a very important issue. The president has correctly changed our strategy to focus in the Western Pacific, where the strategic center of our interest will be for this century, economically as well as security-wise. But the other aspect of this change is changing to what Spider Marks here did in his whole career. He's saying it's no longer about how many ships you have, how many brigades you have. It's whether you begin to shape your force towards a new capability based on knowledge. For one example, China has about 80 submarines. We got about 50. Do we procure a lot more submarines at $2 billion apiece? Or do we begin to develop a sensor system that can listen for machinery noise from submarines in the South China Sea, from little buoys, and can network that to some drone flying around to drop a torpedo? That's the reshaping that the president announced today. About capability, not necessarily more structure.
All right. Well, General Marks, Admiral Sestak, thanks to both. Interesting, you both seem to think the president's doing the right thing. And, of course, everyone out there, let us know what you think, because this opens the whole door to why China is so obsessed with hacking into our technology.